All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jill Franks. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Farmers State Bank, and I am here with John Streeter, our Chief Mortgage Officer here at Farmers State Bank. Hey, John.
Hello, everybody. Great to have everybody with us again, and look forward to talking about VA loans.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of really great questions planned for today, but just a reminder, if you're tuning into this live and you have a question and it comes up, feel free to type it in the comments and we'll be sure to answer that as we see them pop up. So feel free to ask any question throughout our Mortgage 101 today. But otherwise, we're excited to be here. So let's get started right away, John. VA loans, what are they? Can you explain to me? Yep. What are they?
That's the basic first question.
Right.
VA loan is a special government-backed loan that is made available to veterans who have served in the military or National Guard and reservists who have served a certain amount of time in the National Guard and Reserve, or for those that may have been active duty for 6-month period of time or longer, and still in the National Guard or Reserve. It's also for just spouses of a deceased veteran, and that's the one area that I think people forget often, is if they are the spouse of a deceased veteran, they can qualify for a VA loan.
Okay, because that was one of my big questions today is if you have a family member or a spouse, but it is spouses.
It's a spouse, right.
Okay.
And, and to kind of further along that, the VA loan is not provided by the Veterans Association. The loan is actually provided by us, the bank or finance group that's doing it, financial institution. The VA simply guarantees the loan. So what the VA does is, if that loan were to go into default for any reason and the bank incurred a loss, the VA would then guarantee that loss back to the bank. The VA has the option. Sometimes people will find homes that are being offered by the Veterans Administration. Before they pay off that guarantee, the VA has the opportunity to pay the bank off and take that property and sell it themselves. Most often, though, they just pay their guarantee and in charge of liquidating that home.
Okay. So I'm a veteran and I'm interested in buying a house. What is my first step to securing a VA loan?
The first step is getting in touch with your banker, hopefully getting in touch with us at Farmers. Let us do a pre-qualification, but also let us apply for your certificate of eligibility. You want to make sure before you get into the entire process, find a home, make an offer subject to VA financing, and then find out that there's a hiccup with your eligibility and either take some time, it will take some time or paperwork. It could be any number of things. So the lender now has the opportunity. Years ago, when I got started in this business, the veteran had to apply for their certificate of eligibility, and it could take as much as 90 days to 6 months to get that certificate. So now, with the advent of computers and technology, with just their Social Security number and their date of birth, I can get a certificate of eligibility within a matter of minutes. If for some reason the certificate is not issued, it will tell us what information that they need, which is usually a DD-214 to submit, and then we usually get information within 24 to 48 hours. We either get the certificate or we get a letter from the VA stating what additional information that they need, or what the hurdle is that may be causing the issue with them and their eligibility.
Okay, so it sounds like it's pretty simple for you to get that certificate of eligibility.
Yes, it is, and it's very important that veterans get that done with their lender first. I had an issue about 4 or 5 years ago where a veteran had served in the National Guard for 6 years and presumed that they qualified for the VA loan, and due to an unknown issue, their discharge status was discharged under honorable conditions, not an honorable discharged. And I didn't realize that there was a difference. To me, that would mean that, discharged under honorable conditions versus an honorable discharge should be the same. No, it's not. And the VA, after some communication and this person already having an offer and already going through all the paperwork, we found out that there was a slight difference, and it wasn't anything that he could take care of at that point in time. So he was not eligible to get a VA loan.
So that's interesting. So say that again. So you have to have an honorable discharge.
Correct.
Status.
Right. Now, if you're a veteran who served in the military, you can eligibility with a general discharge and an honorable discharge. Just can't be a dishonorable discharge. But with a reservist or a National Guard member, there are some additional rules that go into that, and that's where this got caught up. They have some additional stages of discharge, and that's where this individual got caught up. And what it was is the individual, because their parents were, the father was American, the mother was from another country, he had dual citizenship. And he had to revoke his dual citizenship in order to get his VA benefits.
Got it. Okay.
So that was the stickler, and it was an unusual circumstance that I was never aware of. So
absolutely. So this brings me back to when we talked about, surviving spouses. So how do surviving spouses receive that certificate?
Okay. Again, they'll go through the lender, and we'll need the original individual's social security number and date of birth, and then we have a box that we check that says we're making this inquiry on behalf of a surviving spouse. Okay. In order for a surviving spouse to qualify, they can't have remarried from the time that that their spouse died. So. Okay. Let's say their husband was in the Army and husband died, and doesn't have to be death through the military or through engagement on years later, and wants to buy a house at this point in time and use their decedent husband's death or benefits through the VA. As long as they hadn't ever remarried after that spouse passed away, they can apply for spousal benefits.
Okay, so one more time, just to reiterate this, who is a VA loan available to?
VA loan is available to any veteran, active duty or discharged with a general or honorable discharge, any reservist or National Guard member who has minimum service hours in the military, and they'll know what that means. And with that minimum service hours, they have to have an honorable discharge. And then a spouse of a deceased veteran who has not remarried, and that deceased veteran had received an honorable or general discharge.
Okay, great. So now our second step is, so we've came to the bank, we contacted you, John, and we've received our certificate of eligibility. What's next in this process?
Next is just like a normal home loan. We just take the application, get income documents, and pre-approval, and then you go out and find a home, make an offer. just like you would on any other type of home purchase. Make your realtor and your seller know that you're applying for VA financing. Sometimes sellers are apprehensive to take an offer from a loan that's going to be done through FHA, VA. So you want to make sure that everybody understands that you're going to be using your VA benefit to purchase this property. That way they can submit the offer properly and everybody knows all the different conditions. We do, once you have an offer submitted, there is some additional paperwork that we have to do with the VA loan that you wouldn't do with just additional VA documents. The main one that's different is we have to have a waiver signed by the seller and the real estate agents that they know that the customer has applied for, the buyer has applied for a VA loan, and know that the property has to meet certain requirements and value for the loan to go through. So that's another reason why you want your real estate agent and your seller to know that, because we'll be sending them a form saying our client is going through the VA process.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier about buyer or seller hesitation when it comes to accepting a VA loan.
Sure.
Can you talk a little about why there would be hesitation?
Well, there's a myth that VA loans take too long, and if you're using the wrong lender, they can take too long. If you're using a local lender like Farmers, we close our VA loans in typically 45 days. Sometimes you'll see or have a strange circumstance where it may take out to 60 days because of the title work or the appraisal. But generally, we're closing our VA loans within a 35 to 45 day time period. That's usually, that myth often makes some sellers hesitant because they think they've heard that it takes 90 days to close a VA loan or 6 months to close a VA loan. So on that basis, they may be hesitant. VA also requires your home to be in ready condition. And that doesn't mean everything has to be spotless and perfect, but it does mean that wiring has to be up to code, plumbing has to be up to code. There can't be, the HVAC has to be operable and assumed to be operable for at least 5 years or more. The roof needs to be in decent condition to where it will last 5 years or more. And these conditions are based on the fact that the VA doesn't want a veteran stepping into a house owing 100% of the purchase price and not having any equity, and then turning around and having to put a new roof on the property.
Right.
Having to replace the furnace in 6 months' time. So the VA appraiser will go through and do a cursory check. It's not a full home inspection. It's just a cursory inspection where they look and make sure that wiring seems to be up to date and it's not old wiring. That plumbing is all working satisfactory and seems to be up to code. There's not any major expense that a person would have in purchasing the property.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is when you're looking for houses as a veteran going with a VA loan, you need to look for wiring, plumbing, HVAC, and the roof are the main requirements.
Yeah, and I use the term move-in ready. You want something that's move-in ready. Even if I want to replace the carpet, I can still move into a house and replace the carpet at some point in time. If I want to paint the walls, I can still move into the house and paint the wall at some point in time.
Okay.
If there's anything that causes the home to not be move-in ready, that you're going to have to do work before you can move in, it's generally going to cause an issue with a VA loan.
Okay. So I loved hearing that stuff. That's good information to have while I'm house hunting if I'm a veteran.
Yes, and that's another reason why you want to make your agent know up front that you've been pre-qualified for a VA loan, because the agents will have a better idea of what things will go through and what won't go through. So as they're showing you homes, and they probably will just not show you homes that they know are not VA qualified. Say, here's a home that you may be interested in, but realize that this home doesn't qualify for VA because of A, B, and C. Maybe there's been a home inspection and they realize that the basement has some cracks and will have to be fixed by Helitech before it could be bought by a veteran. So that type of thing. Okay. There is one quirky thing with VA loans. If you have 2 or more steps, you have to have a handrail. We see that with FHA, USDA, and now VA doesn't specifically require that in their guidelines, but they say overall safety. And because a VA appraiser is usually an FHA and a USDA appraiser, and they do require the handrail, most of the time a VA appraiser is going to mention, oh, we need a handrail because there's 3 steps from the back door to the ground. And a lot of sellers get upset with those situations. And once the appraiser says that that's a safety issue, then it has to be done in order for the veteran to use that VA product. We don't have any way of backing away from that.
This is a good tip for any seller, anybody out there that's thinking about selling their home, is to even, I know a lot of people look for that when it comes to being move-in ready. The 2 steps before, have that handrail on.
I've spoke to real estate offices many times, and I said the best way to curb these issues is, here are the things that you need to go in when your seller is listing the home. They need to have GFCI outlets anywhere where there's a bathroom, a kitchen, or a water supply. So even if you've got a spigot on the outside of the house, if there is a outlet on the same side of the house as that water spigot, that needs to be a GFCI outlet. Making sure that your electrical is working properly, that there's not a tripping, causing something to trip, that you don't have enough power. If somebody is running the stove and they turn the dryer on and that kicks a breaker, that's generally something that you want to address when you're trying to sell a house, because that'll come up as an issue when it's inspected. If you have more than 1 step, if you have 2 steps or more, you need to make sure there's a handrail there.
That's a good tip.
If you don't have any plumbing leaks, make sure that your toilets are all running properly. To be the little headaches that could have been fixed before the house was even put on the market. They don't have to go through and paint and change the carpet and things of that nature. And many times people will do that, and really I tell them they're spending their money in the wrong place, because somebody who's buying the home may want a completely different color, may want a different carpet. It's like the items we talked about that they want to focus on.
Well, good tips, John. We've talked about some of the requirements for a VA loan. I want to talk about what some of the benefits of getting a VA loan are.
Absolutely.
Terms.
The biggest benefit to the veteran is that you can get 100% financing, both from a purchase and a refinance standpoint. So a veteran who may not be using their veteran benefits and they have a home and they want to do some improvements to the house, or they want to pay off some credit card debt, or they may just have another loan that they want to pay off, they can use their VA loan benefits to refinance their house, take out additional funds, and be able to do that without having to worry about PMI. And then on a purchase basis, you can go up to 100% financing, so you don't have to have a down payment. So the other thing that's beneficial with VA loans, the interest rate is usually well below the market. I just quoted a VA rate for somebody today, 30-year fixed rate at 2.25%.
Wow.
The 30-year fixed rate for a conventional loan is running 3.125, so almost a full percentage point lower than the conventional rate. So that's another great opportunity. The VA does charge a fee similar to what FHA charges. There's an upfront guarantee fee, and that money is what goes into the guarantee pool. And that pool is just the money that is set aside for the VA to pay on the guarantee if a loan goes into a default. So it is kind of like default insurance. You're paying the VA to have this default insurance for you. But unlike FHA and USDA, you don't have a monthly premium. So you only have this one-time upfront premium.
Okay.
You don't have a monthly payment like you do with conventional loans with PMI insurance or the fees that USDA and FHA charge.
So no PMI insurance.
No PMI insurance.
That's
So
great.
if you're a veteran, there's just no hands down. The VA loan is the best loan product out there. Better interest rate, better terms. The only time, and will cross-reference some other loan products. So a veteran comes in and they say, I want to use my VA benefits, and they have 50% equity in their home, and they're wanting just to take out a little bit of money. I'll run both programs because with that much equity, they're not going to have to worry about PMI insurance on a conventional loan, and the VA fee may be more costly than interest rate. So we will always make that calculation to make sure the VA rate and the VA program is the best for you. Most of the time, 90% of the time it is, but 10% of the time it may be better just to stay with the conventional loan.
Well, good. So it's no longer time-wise to do a VA loan than it would be a conventional.
It's usually, if somebody does a conventional loan and a VA loan, we'll see a VA loan take a week or two longer.
Okay.
So, closing a conventional loan in 30 to 40 days, we're closing VA loans in 35 to 45 days. It could stretch into 50 days. So usually it's going to take a week or two longer.
Okay, great. What about prepayment penalty? Is there a prepayment penalty?
There is not. Just like any conventional mortgage, there's no prepayment penalty. So you can pay on your loan additional payments. You can pay additional small amounts, but you can pay it off faster, and there's no prepayment penalty.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about closing costs, because I think that's sometimes a surprise for somebody that's getting into a VA loan. You do still have to account for closing costs with the VA.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of times we get veterans that say, well, I want the VA loan, and assume that there's no out-of-pocket cost, and that would be incorrect. There's no down payment. You still have out-of-pocket costs for your first year of insurance and for your closing costs. And you have to watch closing costs because the VA allows the lender to charge a 1% origination fee. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, that's an origination fee of $3,000. We max our origination fee at $1,195 because the purpose of the origination fee is to cover some of the costs that the VA says the veteran cannot pay for, like a termite inspection as an example. We don't overcharge a veteran. $1,195 covers our typical origination fee and the additional costs that we have involved with a VA loan. But one of these internet lenders would take the opportunity, because that's income to them. They can charge the full 1%. You also want to look at what other fees that they're charging. The one good thing about VA loan is the VA limits what kind of closing costs you can charge to the veteran. So you can charge that 1% origination fee. You can collect discount points, and discount points is when the veteran wants to buy their interest rate down. They're going to pay what's called a point, or 1% of the loan amount, or they could pay 2% of the loan amount. So if somebody is quoting a really low rate, as an example today, we could quote a rate as low as 1.875 on a 30-year fixed rate VA loan. But the veteran's going to have to pay 2 points for that. So on a $300,000 loan, that's $6,000 that they're going to pay to get that 1.875.
Okay.
And they may not want to pay that. And generally people won't want to pay that big of a fee to buy their rate down. So you always want to check on, am I buying my rate down and paying any discount points? What is your origination fee? And what other closing costs am I going to have? You do have to pay for your appraisal. You do have to pay for your title work. And those are the two other larger fees. Usually a VA appraisal runs about $500. And then title work will vary depending on where you're buying your property, what county and state that you're in. Now, a caveat to the closing cost is if you're buying a home, you can make an offer to the seller where you ask the seller to pay your closing costs. VA allowed all other loan programs, the seller is limited to a certain percentage of the loan paying closing costs. But on a VA loan, the seller can pay all of your closing costs. And
interesting.
That's an advantage that's a negotiation factor, that if you want to build the closing cost into your loan, you can offer a little bit higher price and ask the seller to pay your closing costs. Seller wants a little bit higher price. You may say, okay, I'll do that, but I need you to cover a certain percentage of my closing costs.
Okay.
Negotiate with the seller, pay one of those points. You can ask the seller to pay a point to buy your rate down, and so that you can get a cheaper interest rate. You do not have the ability to roll closing costs into the loan on a purchase.
Okay.
We can roll it in on a refinance so that there's no out-of-pocket expense. But on a purchase, the closing costs either have to be paid by the seller or by the buyer.
Got it. Okay. Good to know. So main things to account for is that first year insurance, your 1% fee of typical closing costs.
Right.
With us, it's at max $1,000.
Yeah, generally with us, you're going to be looking at that origination fee of $1,195 plus the $500 for the appraisal, and probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 to $500 for your portion of the title work.
Okay.
So you're usually right at about $2,000 in total closing costs, not including the insurance premium with us on it.
Good to know. What about credit score? What does that, how does that come into play?
We have the ability to go down to as low as a 620 credit score.
Okay.
There may be some lenders out there that go down as low as a 600 credit score or a 580 credit score. They will have a lot of conditions to be able to requirements for that. But for us, the minimum credit score is 620. 620.
Good. So you talked a little bit about refinancing with a VA loan. What types of VA loans are there? So you can do refinancing. Can I buy land?
Sure. Well, you can do cash out. You can't get land. You can't do a VA loan with anything other than your primary residence.
Okay.
So you can't buy any kind of rental property. You can't buy any land. You can't do a construction loan. When it comes to doing construction financing, you have to find a lender that will do the construction loan and then can convert it to a VA loan after construction is done. So some people will come in, I want to do a VA loan and I'm going to build a new house. Well, VA doesn't provide construction financing. So you just have to find a lender that has the ability to do the construction loan and the VA loan. And by happenstance, Farmers State Bank will provide that construction loan for you and be able to convert that to a VA loan. We've done a number of those. You can refinance to take cash out, and then that cash can be used for anything. They have no restrictions on what you have to use it for. So that could be used to buy some land, or if you have enough equity and you're using that as a down payment on a rental home or something. But any of the cash out that you take over and above your loan payoff, you can use that for any purpose. There's no restriction there.
Okay, so explain that to me. So I have owned this, I have a VA loan, and I've owned my house, and so I have some equity in my house, and now I would refinance and take out my equity. Is that what that means?
Right. You can go back up to 100% of the appraised value of the home.
Okay.
The only difference with a cash out refinance of a VA loan is we have to subtract the VA fee from that appraisal value. So let's say you owe 150,000 and your house is worth 200,000.
Okay.
We can go all the way up to 200,000. Now on a VA purchase, we would go up to 200,000 and add that VA fee on top of that. So your loan would be $202,350 based on adding the VA fee. With the refinance, they no longer allow that. So that $2,000 or $2,300 VA fee comes out of the 200, and then you get the difference between that after we pay closing costs and paying your loan off.
Got it.
And you do have the ability, and there's no other program that allows you to go to 100% of the appraised value for any kind of a refinance. So that's a huge benefit for veterans that are trying to utilize that money for something, maybe refinancing to use that money to pay for a kid's college, pay off credit card debt, or maybe it's just time to improve the home and do improvements.
Great. So say I have a VA loan and I am interested in moving out of that house and moving somewhere else. Am I allowed to apply for a VA loan more than once?
You can only use your VA benefits on one home at a time.
Okay.
But you can reuse your benefits multiple times over. So we just have to make sure that if you're applying for the purchase a new home, your other home that has the VA loan on it has to close before we can close on the house that you're going to have a VA on. Now that difference can be a matter of minutes or hours. It doesn't have to be days and weeks. So we can do a back-to-back closing where they're selling their house that currently has the VA loan, and we close on that on Friday morning, and then 2 hours later we close on the new house with VA benefits.
Okay.
And the bank is responsible, the lender is responsible for sending the closing statement to the VA office so that benefit can be reissued for the new property.
Got it.
If you use, a lot of people will have used their VA benefits years ago, and then they've sold that house, bought another house, and now they're coming and buying another house, and they assume that they can't use VA benefits because they did it years ago. You can use your VA benefits over and over and over again. There's no limit on the number of homes that you can use your VA benefit. Be that one at that time. Now, the disadvantage, though, is the VA does charge a higher fee whenever you use it for a second or third or fourth purchase. So there's what they call first-time use, and then there's what they call subsequent use. So the VA fee right now is 2.3% on the first-time use, and then it's 3.6% on subsequent use.
Okay. But you still have that option to buy points down.
Right.
Okay. Great. Well, I've heard a lot about this guy named Earl when it comes to VA loans. Tell me about Earl. Who is he?
People always ask, who is this Earl and what's that to do with the VA loan? Earl is the acronym for a interest rate reduction loan. So IRRL, and we just commonly refer to that as Earl. But that's another unique benefit with VA that other loan programs don't have, that many times we don't have to do an appraisal. We cut out some of the closing costs. We only have to do the title work, and it's where you're not taking any additional money out. You're just taking advantage of the low interest rates. As an example, the one that I'm working on today, the customer has taken their rate from 4.25 down to 2.25, and we'll be doing that as a Earl refinance, and it'll lower the amount of closing costs that they're going to have to worry about. And in cases, we don't have to do an appraisal for the interest rate reduction loan. So if you're a veteran and you have a VA loan, just remember that Earl is on your side. And the one disadvantage with the Earl loan is the rate has to be at least a 1% drop in the interest rate. And then we have to do some other calculations to make sure that it's to the veteran's benefit to refinance. So that's the one thing. And again, that's just a chart that we have to go through and some paperwork that your lender has to go through. The main thing for the veteran to realize is it does generally need to be at least a 1% drop in the interest rate.
Okay. Okay.
And you do not have to go through another interesting fact on that many times people don't realize. You do not have to go through the same lender. So if you have a VA loan that's through Veterans United or New Day Lending or one of these other finance companies, and you weren't real happy with how the service was, you can come to us and we can do an interest rate reduction loan, and we won't be going through that same group. We'll be doing it through the group that we. So that was in years past. You had to go to the same lender to do a interest rate reduction loan. You no longer have to go to the same lender.
Oh, that's good to know. Very good. So, does Farmer State Bank specialize in VA loans?
Sorry, I asked that again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Farmer State Bank specializes in
yes.
VA loans.
Yes, I've all of our lenders have done VA loans. I've done VA loans for 30 plus years, and so we know the program well, and we can get them a great interest rate and provide them the great local service. They don't have to go to one of these internet lenders. And many times they see these rates, they'll be looking at, they'll be hearing the commercials from New Day Lending or Veterans United, and they think that those are directly with the Veterans Administration. And borrowers need to realize, veterans need to realize, the Veterans Administration does not do the mortgage financing. Some of these companies give the impression that they are part of the Veterans Administration and that they're providing you a VA loan. You go through a financial institution, a mortgage broker, or a bank to get your VA loan that is part of the VA lending process. So you have to apply to become a VA lender, and so we're an approved VA lender. Not all financial institutions will be approved VA lenders. So first thing to seek out is ask, and hopefully just come to us, because we're a VA approved lender, and go through the Veterans Administration. You want to be cautious of these companies that act like they are the Veterans Administration. They're just a mortgage broker that's doing the loan, and they're actually brokering through some other financial institution who actually offers the VA.
Interesting. Okay. John, I've had all my questions answered, but if there's one thing that our viewers could take away from today, what would that be? What would you tell them?
There's a couple of things rather than one thing.
Okay.
First would be take advantage of your VA benefits. When I got started in this business, we didn't have a lot of people who qualified for VA benefits, because when I got started in the business, the last was Vietnam, and a lot of veterans were not comfortable with using their VA benefits for some reason. So we would just see World War I and World War II veterans at that point, and Korean veterans applying for their VA benefits. With the advent of all the conflicts that we've been in, and a lot of people who have joined the National Guard, we have a large group of people now that qualify for VA benefit. So first takeaway is if you've served in any kind of military duty, we appreciate your service. Thank you for your service, and contact us to see how we can help you with a VA loan. Second thing to remember is interest rates on VA loans are lower than any other program. So that's another big reason to take advantage of that program. And then third, you can get 100% financing on a VA loan. No other product gives you true 100% financing. And so there's really three major takeaways there.
Amazing. Thank you, John. So if there's any veterans out there interested in using the VA loan option, how would they get in touch with you?
They can contact any one of the lenders here at the Farmers State Bank. They can reach out to me. My email address is there on the screen. My phone number is also listed there on the screen. That's my direct cell phone number, so you'll be contacting me directly. Or just call Farmers State Bank, our general hotline, or they can go to our website and apply and get information through our website that's now there on the screen.
Great.
Another thing, if there's any veterans that are part of a veterans group, the VFW, the American Legion, or if somebody wants us to come and talk to a group of individuals at the National Guard Armory, I've done that in the past. I've spoke to National Guard at the Armory in Marion before, and at the Armory in West Frankfort. So we spoke at different events, veteran events. So if you'd like us to come out and talk to veterans and sponsor some sort of discussion about VA loans, we would be happy to come out to your location and talk with some veterans and tell them all about what their benefits are.
Amazing. Thanks, John. I know that's one thing I always say is an advantage of banking here at Farmers is that we're open to making house calls. If you're not wanting to come to see us at the office, we'll meet you where you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for your time, John. I've learned a lot for sure. So
thank you for hosting this once again, and I love working with Farmers State Bank because we make these type of services available to people. As you said, we make house calls. We truly want to be your community bank and want to provide you with the best programs and services for your mortgage financing.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, John. We'll be doing this again next month, and we'll be posting that on our social media as well. So if you have any questions, or if there's a topic you want us to cover when it comes to mortgages or lending in general, just shoot us a message on our Facebook page, and we'll be sure to answer all your questions on our next episode. Thanks again. Have a great day.
Have a great day.